Hey, welcome to Strange Planet. Something extraordinary has entered our solar system. Astronomers call it 3I Atlas, the third confirmed interstellar object ever detected. A 7-mile wide visitor moving too fast to belong here. Its chemical makeup doesn't match anything from our corner of space, and its path suggests it came from the deep beyond. And it won't be staying long. Some see it just as a comet. Others, like my guest today, believe it could be something more, perhaps a messenger, a probe, or even a catalyst meant to awaken us to a larger cosmic story. Joining me once again is Jason Shurka, best-selling author of The Pyramid Code, host of the hit UNIFYD TV series by the same name. Jason has spent years decoding the hidden wisdom of ancient structures, the energy science behind sacred architecture, and the suppressed technologies of past civilizations. As the founder of UNIFYD TV and UNIFYD Healing, Jason's built a global community around consciousness, resonance, and the rediscovery of forgotten truths. And today, Jason returns to Strange Planet to explore this newest enigma, the interstellar object 3I Atlas. Is it a simple chunk of ice and rock, or a cosmic signal linked to the same advanced intelligences who may have shaped our world long before recorded history? Jason, welcome back to Strange Planet. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much, Richard, for having me.
First of all, tell listeners, what is 3I Atlas? The 3I, I'm guessing, means third interstellar, which I hinted at earlier. But what does the Atlas mean?
Atlas is the telescope. It's a system in Chile that they use, and it's called the Atlas telescope. So 3I, it's the third one. The first one that they found, I think, was around 2015, if I'm not mistaken. First one was 2017, if I'm not mistaken. Then there was 2019. Now there's 2025. This is the third one. That's your 3I. And Atlas is the telescope that was used in Chile.
All right. And one of those interstellar objects is some say it's a comet, Oumuamua, which I've talked about on this program with people like Avi Loeb and so forth. So this is the third one. So is it a comet? I mean, or is it something that might be far more significant?
So I can't tell you what it is factually because nobody actually knows. I can give you my opinion based on connecting certain dots and, certain research that I've done and experiences that I've had over the past few years. There are some people, there's a group of people, and by the way, Avi Loeb is interesting. He's the Harvard astrophysicist, and he believes that it's something completely different than a regular comet or so on and so forth that, NASA and the ESA are talking about. But I think it can be a combination of both. And I'll tell you what I mean by that and where I'm sort of originating with that conclusion, as far as at least of where we're at right now. So if we go back to ancient Egypt, and I'm going to give a narrative that may not be in the mainstream narrative, but it's a narrative that I definitely follow. And it's something that you can learn more about when it comes to the Pyramid Code, that document that was given to me. We put it in the form of a book so people can just read it easier, but it's also available for free download on my website, jasonshurka.com. Anybody can get it, read it, check it out, because it goes into a deeper level of understanding ancient Egypt. And I'll tell you why that's tied to what we're talking about here and the possibilities of what this thing can actually be. And I call it this thing because nobody actually knows, but I think all things can be true with the explanation that I'm going to share simultaneously. So when you go back to the Pyramid Code and the narrative that was shared in that document of what truly happened back in ancient Egypt, it spoke about the pyramids and who built them and why they built them, tying it to extraterrestrial life. But that's not the punchline of what we're getting at here. The punchline is how it spoke about crafts, extraterrestrial crafts, and how they actually operate. And it spoke about the pyramids potentially being a form of those crafts as well, which sounds crazy, but when you read the document, it just makes it make a whole lot more sense. The reason why I bring that up is because in those times, at least according to the Pyramid Code, rocks were not just these dead things that, existed in nature. They were things that could be used, just like everything in nature, things that could be used to connect to with your consciousness, making that rock, number one, understanding that the stone in and of itself has an intelligence. That's how it formed in the first place. And number two, you can use those stones as a form of interface to be able to interact with or move things or fly to certain places and so on and so forth. And there are many individuals even today when it comes to the UFO and UAP community, they speak about the craft, even in today's day, modern day, the craft being an extension of the operator's consciousness, meaning the operator, whether a human, probably extraterrestrial, whatever it may be, whatever this entity or being is actually connecting to this craft in various different leads to modalities that they have.
Right, like the UFO ESP, people talk about the UFO ESP connection. Yeah.
Exactly. And they're using this interface that connects to their consciousness to operate it. Now, one may ask, well, if the craft is made of metal, maybe crystal, maybe glass, whatever it may be, how is that possible? Well, that's not what we're here to speak about, because we may not ever know that until one day we do. The fact is, maybe it's not a fact for some people, it's a fact in my world, that is possible today. That's how we're seeing crafts move today. And that's been possible for a very long time, all the way extending back to ancient Egypt and probably even before that. So I bring that up because that's a prime example of using material that some people just think is dead, it has no consciousness, that actually has a form of intelligence. So back to 3i Atlas, the reason why I say it could potentially be both is even if it is a comet, it doesn't mean that there isn't something else connecting to it, sort of directing it and having some sort of extra intelligence connected to it. Just because it's a rock doesn't mean it can't be connected to a form of intelligence.
Right. So this was discovered, I think, July of this year by this telescope in Chile. And Atlas, I think it stands for something like Asteroid Terrain Impact Last Alert System, which sounds kind of ominous. Whoever runs Atlas, are they concerned that this could impact, be on a collision course with Earth?
Well, I'm sure that that's part of the reason why they monitor those things. They want to make sure that if there's an asteroid, a comet, whatever it may be, that's super big, flying at very, very high speeds, if it impacts Earth, it could be a devastating event, if not an ending event, depending on how big that thing is. So from their perspective, look at the government in general, right? The government always frames things as, is it a threat to national security? Everything's always a threat to national security. Now, if you watch the Disclosure series, I forgot which episode, it might have been episode 4 or 3. He speaks specifically, because I asked him about comets and asteroids and, hitting Earth. Now, take or leave what I'm about to share, not my words, these are his words, but it's something that's very interesting when it comes to understanding life in a different way and asteroids and impacts in a different way. According to Ray from that series, he says it's impossible for that to happen because an asteroid above, I forgot how big, but not that big, will not be able to collide with Earth in the first place because Earth has a specific electromagnetic field surrounding it. And asteroids or comets above a certain size likely have certain metals on them that naturally will cause that direction to shift when it comes to Earth, because Earth has its own, essentially, shield around it using an electromagnetic field in this case. So then my follow-up question to him was, then what about the dinosaurs? And his answer was, well, I don't want to get into that, but that story is not what you think, and we could talk about that another time. So we still never spoke about that, but his answer was pretty vague on that front.
Right. This is the asteroid collision. This is the theory is the mass extinction event of 60 million years ago was caused by this massive asteroid impact somewhere around the Yucatan Peninsula, I think. So, okay,
which is at least what we're assuming, right? It's what we're assuming based on the evidence we have. Nobody was there 60 million years ago to tell us that. So we may be right, we may be wrong. I don't know.
This is only the third interstellar artifact, let's call it. Why is that so rare? Why are they come along so infrequently? Do we know?
So number one, I think it's the third one since the Atlas telescope was created.
Okay.
I don't know what technology they had before that. I'm not an expert on that field by any means. But when it comes to like rare, right? You had one in 2016 or 2017, another one in 2019, another one in 2025. I guess the way that they define what they're looking for makes those things rare, because there are comets and asteroids going on all the time. So there must be something, which I don't know off the top of my head, but there must be something that make these different than the other ones that are in space all the time. Now, this one, is different. It's not the same as the other ones, according to people like Avi Loeb, at least, right? And other individuals that are tracking it, because of the way that it's moving, the way that it's so-called lighting up. Although I would sort of challenge that, because let me just start with, I'm all for conspiracies and conspiracy theories. I love that world. But I also know that we need to be super grounded and be very careful with what we choose to share on, how we share on it, because the conspiracy theorists, including myself, bucket of individuals is always under strict scrutiny. And if we make one mistake, all your credibility is lost. So you got to be very careful with what you say, how you say it, and why you're saying it. So with that in mind, one thing that I would challenge from the community that even I come from is, sure, they're saying when it got closer to the sun, people were saying it turned on, right? It turned green. Well, not really. It has certain chemicals on it and certain metals on it that when it got closer to the sun, those metals have certain gases that come off of them as well. And those gases have a green hue when you reflect on them. So is that it turning on? Or is that it's almost like a reflective thing on one of those suits that you wear at night?
Right.
When you shine a flashlight on it, is the suit turning on, or is it just reflecting because that's the material that it has? And I would say that it's reflecting because that's the material that it has.
So that's what you're referring to now is what people are talking about, this unusual chemical signature of this comet or asteroid or whatever it is. That's what we're talking about, right? An unusual chemical signature. So normally,
and it's not that unusual. It's releasing water vapor. It's releasing hydroxyl gas. It's also dust, just like many comets in our solar system, by the way. To answer your question, I believe the reason why they're so rare is because interstellar means it's also coming from out of our solar system. So Atlas may be tracking things, to my knowledge at least, that are coming from outside of the solar system and not everything that's within, which is interesting because why can't something within our solar system hit Earth too under their definition? It could. So I think there's something else going on here and they're just not telling us everything.
Right. And you mentioned its trajectory. I think it's been described as hyperbolic.
Yes, it's a hyperbolic trajectory, meaning it's not orbiting the sun. So it's not in our solar system. It's coming from deep space. Once it leaves again forever. But here's the interesting part, which kind of made me laugh. They're saying, could this be a threat? Is this going to be a problem? Could this be, an extinction event or whatever it may be? It's 1.4 astronomical units away from the sun, which is 130 million miles away. To put that into proportion, the sun is 93 million miles away from Earth. You're talking about something that's almost 50% further than the distance between Earth and the sun, and that's just from the sun. When it comes to the Earth, the time that it will get closest to Earth is still going to be 1.8 astronomical units. That's like 170 million miles away. So no, I don't really think that there's anything to worry about here, especially being that it's 7 miles, right? It's something that's big, but not that big, and I don't see any reason for it, even if Ray was wrong, to come and hit Earth.
Right. So how big did you say? I mean, it's been described as massive. How large a comet is it? 7 miles in what, diameter?
It's like the size of Manhattan.
Right. I mean, ordinarily, if that was going to swing by the Earth in fairly close proximity, I mean, or if that were to impact the Earth, that would be a planet killer, I would imagine.
That would be very close to a planet killer. But we're talking about something 160 million miles away. Who cares?
Right. So there's not even going to be a threat of, what do they call that, perturbation? If it swings too close, that it could cause some, I don't know, volcanic activity or anything like that. Nothing to worry about.
It's not that big. For something to, listen, in the cosmos with other planets and whatnot, the moon impacts high tide and low tide. The moon is also, 238,000 miles away from Earth. It's also 1/4 the time, 25% the size of Earth. So you're talking about something close and massive. That's why it has an impact on Earth. Then you have Jupiter. Jupiter is massive compared to Earth. So it may be far away, but it does have planetary consequences and implications because you're talking about how gravity moves and the size and mass of that object. This thing is the size of Manhattan. It's 160 million miles away. There's nothing, if it could do something, it's going to be so minimal that it may do things on a spiritual level. That I can agree with, where everything, no matter how big or small, does impact Earth one way or another. The question is, does it impact us in like this devastating way, or does it impact us in a very subtle way, whether good or bad? Everything in the cosmos impacts us subtly one way or another. That's what astrology is based on. That's why, the Cancer, the Libra, and the Leo, and so on, Capricorn, so on and so forth, all of that has truth to it because it's all based on what were the planetary alignments when you were born that would impact you throughout your life and their movements throughout your life. And one phrase that I love, millionaires hire consultants, billionaires hire astrologers. I have an astrologer. I don't hire consultants. I have consultants as well, but I have astrologers because those are the people that will show you things that a consultant will never understand at a much, much, much higher level and a grander scale. So can it impact us? Will it impact us? Yes. Is it going to be subtle? Yes. Could it open certain things spiritually and bring a new wave of energy to us one way or another? Perhaps. But we won't know that until we do.
All right. So, I mean, what are the, can you divulge? I mean, what are your astrologers telling you about 3i Atlas and its potential impact for those of us here on Earth?
So number one, any of my astrologers that I hire, I don't ask about 3i Atlas, but the ones that I've spoken about regarding 3i Atlas all have the same perspective. And I all say, listen, Jason, just like the idea of the age of Aquarius, there's going to be a certain planetary alignment. It will cause a new shift of consciousness in the world. They believe that this is possible to do that, but at a much, much, much lower level and slower level. So I say that only because there's so many people extremely excited about this, and we should be. It's something really cool. It's something unique. It's something we don't experience every day. I don't think we have to be afraid of it. I think we need to be excited for it. I don't think we need to see it as a threat. I think it's something that we can use to say, a lot of people are using this time to start looking up a little bit more. People don't look up that much anymore. People look down straight into their phone. Nobody understands constellations anymore. About 2 months ago, me and my wife, soon-to-be wife, we were on an island, private island in the Bahamas for a few days. I took her there for her birthday. We had a great time. And it was 8 miles off the coast of anything relevant to humanity, which means it's beyond that curve. So you can't even see anything around you. And beyond that, you also have Exuma, which is what was 8 miles away, which there's like nobody there, zero light pollution. So at night, I'm looking up, we're laying on the beach, and I've never seen that many stars in my life. I saw stars all the way down to the horizon.
Wow.
I saw a bunch of satellites going in the sky at very, very fast speeds. You saw shooting stars. You saw all these amazing things. So why am I bringing that up? Because when I had that opportunity to do that, because I live in Miami, in a city, you're not going to see all those stars. You'll see 2 if you're lucky, maybe 5. I saw thousands, if not more than that. My brain just couldn't comprehend it. It looked like sand up in the sky. That's how many stars there were. And it gave me a connection that I didn't have before. And there's a reason why. When you go to ancient civilizations, they were ruled by the stars. Everything they did was by the stars. And it's something that we've lost connection with. So I think if nothing comes out of this, the one thing that will come out of this, because it's already started, is more people connecting to the very thing that they forgot about, which are the things that govern this planet. And that's not just our solar system. It's interstellar space. It's stars and planets all around, many of which we don't even know exist, many of which we don't even know the names of. But when you can connect to that, there's an intelligence that you synchronize with, and it opens so much. So if one thing comes out of this other than anything else, looking up more and connecting to what's above you, I believe will cause people to dive deeper into what's within that.
Yeah, that's so true. I can relate to that. I had a similar experience in the mountains of Greece, in the Peloponnese region. And again, no light pollution. I saw the Milky Way for the first time. And I had a recent conversation with the founder of an organization called Soft Lights, the Soft Lights Foundation. And he's trying to draw the public's attention to the introduction of LED lighting, because it's having horrendous effects on our retinas, on our nerves. It's causing not only migraines, it's causing seizures. It's having a devastating effect on nocturnal life. It's it's just been horrendous. And I mean, I'm sitting here under LED lights, and I've noticed lately I'm becoming irritable and so forth. I almost wonder if this, banishing of darkness is by design, because they want us to lose, whoever they are, to lose that connection to the heavens above.
I think that design has been intentional for a very long time. And it's not just with lighting, because, like snake venom, it can kill you. It can also save you. It's a form of therapy if used the right way. Bee venom. There's something called bee venom therapy. You can use it in certain ways to help you. You can use it in certain ways to hurt you. Very, very bad. Same thing with LED lights, by the way. You can use them in certain ways to hurt you. You can use them in certain ways to reduce depression, anxiety, a bunch of different types of disorders, re-regulate, I should say, your circadian rhythm, all these different things. So it's all dependent on how you use these things as well to make sure that you're using them in a beneficial way. But when it comes to design, lights is the least of our concern. Let's look at food. Let's look at water. I just made a video about this the other day after watching a movie, and I recommend everybody watch this. It's called Unfrosted. And it's a comedy with, what's the billionaire comedian's name? Seinfeld.
Jerry Seinfeld, yeah.
With Jerry Seinfeld and a few other really big actors. And I'm like, this looks stupid, but I'm bored. And me and my wife wanted to, just be entertained a little bit. And we'll see. We said we had a long day. Let's watch this. And it was the most interesting movie I've ever seen. Because what they basically did was, through essentially a comedic skit throughout an entire hour and a half, 2-hour movie, show the corruption, in this case, in the cereal industry and the food industry in general, connected to the FDA. And what it made me think was this: the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, needs to approve certain things. How in the hell did we get to a point where cereal is FDA approved? It doesn't even make sense. It's not real food. It's not real food. It's not good for you. It's not helping you. So is the FDA there to actually look out for people? Or is it there to sort of propagate and propel certain negative self-serving agendas, or just self-serving agendas that have a negative impact on many individuals around the world? Then I started looking around myself and I said, okay, Coca-Cola, forget FDA approved. How is it kosher, right? I come from a Jewish background, and I look at rabbis and they say, yeah, no, it's kosher. I can drink it. I'm like, is there something wrong with your brain? What are you doing? That's poison. You want to drink it, but don't make it like it's a good thing, right? You want to eat McDonald's, eat it, but don't make believe it's a good thing because it was FDA approved. There's corruption going on here. So my point is to what you were saying with being by design and intentional. Yeah, our food is no longer food. Our water is filled with chemicals. Our shots are filled with preservatives. Our air is completely polluted. Our electricity is no longer in harmony with the body. It's dirty electricity and giving radiation to the human body. Everything that we do, almost 99% of the things that we use as part of our day-to-day are killing you, and they're killing you not always fast, but they're making you sick fast and keeping you alive so they can milk you like a cow, because that's how these medical systems work. They don't want you to be healthy. If they did, there would be no medical system. It's a care system, not a healthcare system. So yes, I believe it's done by design, and I believe it's a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant model that's very evil.
The name of that film again, Unfrosted?
Unfrosted.
Okay, and I'm sure Jerry Seinfeld is involved, and it's all very ironic, of course, because fans of Seinfeld will know about his absolute obsession with breakfast cereals on the TV show, Seinfeld.
So I've never watched Seinfeld. I didn't even know that. In the beginning, when I first watched it, I'm like, wow, this is an incredible advertisement for the cereal companies, for Kellogg's and one other one I don't remember, and because it was all about Kellogg's. And I'm like, they must have funded this. But then the more I looked into it, I'm like, okay, it's either they funded this because it is funny and it does bring people to want more cereal if you don't read too much into it. But at the same time, they were exposing so much. So I don't know if it was an advertisement or somebody making parody about what's really.
So getting back to 3i Atlas, do you think the world, or pick your institution, the deep state, the Illuminati, the trillionaires who run the show, do you think the space agencies, NASA, do they already know more about 3i Atlas than they're admitting?
I'm sure they know about so many more things that they're admitting. I unfortunately, unfortunately, in terms of the answer to your question, but fortunately, because I don't want to be a part of it, I'm not a part of that club. So I don't know to tell you what they know and what they don't know. But from the people that I've been involved with, these are individuals that have been wanting to mine asteroids for quite some time now, because there's tons of gold and tons of precious metals and gems on those things, much more that exists even on this planet as a whole. So these are people that are not so much after money anymore because they have all of it. They're people that are after power. Now, power comes with money, but they want power. They want control. There's something wrong with them. And I'll never understand it. I hope most of us don't understand it, because that would mean that you're probably a psychopath. But these are individuals that like power more than anything else, and they will do whatever they need to gain that power. So when it comes to 3i Atlas specifically, I mean, who knows, right? Maybe they're going to try and get to that thing and mine it. I have no idea what they're going to do. But for the purposes of what I believe is going to be happening here, I know there were some people that brought up Project Bluebeam, right? Is this a setup for Project Bluebeam with a narrative of false or fake alien invasion that seems to be real, so the government can unite and have a one world government? By the way, I totally believe in the narrative of Project Bluebeam. I know people that were a part of that are no longer a part of it anymore, but people that were a part of putting something like that together, let's say, and left it because they didn't want to be a part of it.
For those not familiar, and because there's an interesting Canadian connection, the person who first posited Project Bluebeam was a Canadian politician. I think he was from British. I'm not sure. Quote me on that, but he was with the what was called the Social Credit Party up here in Canada, and he was the one that posited this. For those not familiar with the details of Project Bluebeam, just give us a crash course, if you will.
Project Bluebeam is basically this idea that's no different than what happened with the pandemic in 2020, what happened on September 11th of 2001, and many other things that happened around the world. September 11th, 2001, was a little bit different because that was more of a local issue that hit a specific country that got certain people to fulfill their agendas overseas to be able to take over other countries and have a reason to do it. Pandemic was a little different because that was one of the first times in history where there was a global issue that impacted everything globally. And now you have the World Economic Forum, and you have all these people coming together with global health initiatives. And now certain things are going to start overriding constitutional rights to be able, in the name of saving people and making sure that people are healthy and making sure that we don't have this happen again. Look what happened after that so-called thing that happened in 2020. More liberties were taken away, more rights were taken away, and everybody is now finally starting to see it. Because when people like me, and perhaps you spoke about that in the past, there were people getting kicked off of social media platforms. Today, it's a whole different ballgame because conspiracy theorists ended up becoming conspiracy factists in terms of what actually happened there. So in general, when it comes to Project Bluebeam, it's the idea of what happened in 2020, but elevated. So in 2020, you had a global issue. Now you're going to have a universal issue, right? Where at first it was, okay, we have this thing that's going to kill everybody and a bunch of people are getting sick, so we all have to band together and do it for your neighbor. And they succeeded for the most part in what they wanted to get done over there. When it comes to Project Bluebeam, it's elevating that to a different level because now it's saying all beings of Earth, not this country or that country or some of this or some of that, say all beings of Earth, all of us, all human beings, there is a threat. And if we don't fight as one to get rid of that threat, they will come and kill us and they will come and take over. But we have no reason to believe that to be true because it never happened. We've had millions of sightings of UFOs. Many sightings when it comes to firsthand extraterrestrial contact, all the way from individuals in the CIA, all the way down to children that are all saying the same exact thing that can't even play a game of telephone without breaking, and yet they're all saying the same exact thing. Perfect example of that was in Zimbabwe at the aerial school. The aerial school phenomenon was a perfect example of that. So the idea over here, in terms of Project Bluebeam, for anybody that doesn't know what that is this idea that there will be a fake alien invasion that is staged using holographic technology, which we've had for a very long time, making it look like there's an invasion, but with real life implications, meaning there will be missiles coming down. People will die. People will get hurt. And it's not actually coming from the beings that they're telling us that it's coming from. It's a staged invasion to be able to get to one place and one destination only. And that is a one world government that people are begging for so we can all fight together. And ultimately, when you have that one world government with sick people in charge, you end up having a very sick world that we live in with no rights, no liberties, and no freedoms. That's the world that we're heading to right now. And the only reason why I don't think that at this point Project Bluebeam would be a success anymore, and that's why I don't associate it with 3i Atlas, is because a lot of people do know about it. And the only way that, even if they don't believe it, they've heard of it and they know about it. And the only way that something like Project Bluebeam would succeed is if people don't know about it. Because if they know about it and they understand what's to come, well, you just spoiled that card for somebody to play. So maybe something will replace that, but I don't think, and this is just my personal opinion, I don't believe that Project Bluebeam is in the cards, at least for now, because of where we've sort of evolved in terms of awareness over the past few years.
Right. That would be the ultimate false flag, a cosmic level false flag operation.
Exactly.
Right. So if 3i Atlas isn't a natural body, but it's a craft or a probe, let's delve a little deeper. What do you think its possible mission is? Observation, warning, reawakening of something ancient on this planet, which you kind of alluded to earlier?
So multiple answers here. Number one, it could totally be a rock that is a craft. It could be both. It doesn't need to be one or the other. Could totally be both. Number two, if there is an intelligence behind that, which it would probably make sense at this point because there are too many anomalies going on with it in terms of how it's moving or what's going on based on the experts. I'm not an expert. I'm just following what the people are saying, connecting dots. I think exploration, discovery, and maybe also activating something within our race, our nation as a planet, our planet as a whole, is all very probable. Because the camp that I come from is, if we're talking about extraterrestrial life here, I don't believe extraterrestrial life is evil. If they were, we would have seen a completely different world here today. They would have wiped themselves out a long time ago and probably would have never been able to get here in the first place because of one simple rule. When your technological development surpasses your spiritual development, you end up using technology in an irresponsible way and it wipes you out. That's the story of Atlantis. And yet we're seeing these crafts outside of 3i Atlas. We're seeing these crafts operate in ways that completely defy the laws of physics that we understand today, even to the smartest and most advanced individuals on this planet, which means that they must be technologically advanced. But if they haven't wiped themselves out yet, and they haven't been so evil and negative, they must also be spiritually advanced. And if they're spiritually advanced and technologically advanced, well, then maybe their purpose is to help us wake up on this planet because they understand one thing that we've forgotten. We as human beings operate out of separation, meaning if we have food on the table for our families, but our neighbor is suffering, it doesn't really matter because we're good. Or if our country is thriving and rich, but there's a different country that's completely in poverty, it doesn't matter because we're in our country. That's not the consciousness that is of one that is spiritually enlightened. One that is spiritually enlightened and awakened understands that everything is connected to everything. And I believe that they have every interest to help us wake up on this planet because we are the rotten apple in the bunch. And if they can help fix that and elevate our consciousness, they are also helping themselves because spiritually speaking, they are not separate from us and we are not separate from them. Just like the cells in your body. The cell in your, pinky toe that may be going rogue and dividing abnormally and end up causing cancer in your foot is not separate from you just because it's far away from your brain that thinks about it. It's very much a part of you. And if you don't take care of that, well, guess what? The cancer is going to spread and you're going to die. Same thing in the universe as a whole. The earth is the pinky toe. It's going to spread if they don't fix it or at least help fix it. And I believe a lot of their intentions over here, maybe with 3i Atlas as well, but a lot of their intentions here when it comes to extraterrestrial life is helping humanity awaken because it is to their benefit and their interest to make it happen as well.
Interesting. Just recently, the Pope's chief astronomer, Pope Leo's chief astronomer, issued this statements saying that he would baptize an alien baby. I don't know if you heard that.
I didn't hear that one.
So do you think that, first of all, do we know, does NASA know, has anyone give us any clues as to where 3I Atlas comes from, where outside of our solar system it's coming from?
Nobody knows, not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge.
How do you think its discovery fits into this larger pattern of disclosures happening right now? I mean, all of the declassified UFO files, the congressional hearings, revelations about underground structures beneath Giza, which you and I have talked about. I mean, are these events connected?
Everything's connected to everything. How? Some we may find out, some we may never know. But when it comes to, and by the way, I say that before I keep going, I know a lot of people sometimes just want an answer, but sometimes you're not going to get that. And that's the beauty, not the thing that should make you feel anxious, but the beauty of the life that we live. Because even if somebody gives you an answer that they don't completely know, so what? It gave your ego the feeling of closure of knowing something, but it may not be true. And we got to keep ourselves open to curiosity instead of these conclusions that may or may not be true. And we come to conclusions when we can, but we also have to keep our minds open to see other things that may be going on. Now, I believe everything is connected to everything, and I don't think that's a belief. I think it's a fact. It's a scientific fact. It's an energetic fact. When it comes to understanding disclosures in the past, I do not believe the government, the people in power, are disclosing anything for the purposes of helping people. I think that there's an agenda behind that. And that agenda comes back to the same thing that these people operate on, power and control. So we always have to use discernment and say, okay, something is being shared. Who is sharing it? What incentive or motive do they have for sharing it? Could they be making money by sharing it? And is this narrative helpful for people or potentially helpful for the individual sharing it? And when you run through those 4 questions, you'll get to this point of understanding, by following the money specifically, of understanding who is here for good purpose and who is here for selfish purposes. I do not trust the government. I do not trust the authorities. I do not trust the people in power, but that doesn't mean that all of those people are bad. Many of those people may be amazing. But even with the amazing people, even with the people you trust with all your life, all your heart, all your might, you still got to use discernment and challenge it for your own understanding. Not because they're bad people. They may be amazing people. What if they're wrong? You have a brain too, and God gave that to you to think. When it comes to disclosure, I don't think we should ever sit here and say, they're disclosing it to us to help us. No. They're disclosing it for a specific reason, and we need to come down to our own conclusions of what those reasons could be, so we're not deceived or manipulated by certain powers that be.
When is 3I Atlas scheduled to be the closest to Earth? Will it be, for example, visible to the naked eye? What do we know about the best place to see it?
So I believe sometime in December, if I remember correctly, December 19th, 2025 is when it's going to be closest to Earth. And again, it's like 170 million miles away. So that's 1.8 astronomical units away from Earth. And that's why I say it poses no threat. It can be something interesting. It can be something that we can learn a lot about if we can somehow assess something that far away accurately, and maybe learn things about things outside of the solar system as well, because that's where it's coming from. But yeah, December 19th, if my recollection is correct, is the date that it's going to be closest to Earth.
And what'll you be doing that night?
I have no idea, but I'll let you know the day before. I never planned my schedule.
How do we read the pyramid code? How do we watch UNIFYD Healing, UNIFYD TV?
Sure. So number one, the pyramid code can be found on my website, jasonshurka.com. You can also get it on Amazon. Just type in the pyramid code. I am not the author. I'm just the individual that brought it out. The author wants to remain anonymous, which is fine. So you could just write the pyramid code. You'll see my name on it. But again, I am not the author. In addition to that, when it comes to unified healing, that's connected to technologies like this right behind me, the light system technology. If you want to experience that amongst many other amazing technologies, go and do this right now. Go to UNIFYDhealing.com, UNIFYD healing.com. UNIFYDhealing.com is where you can find some of the greatest technologies out there that are advancing a lot of people in their overall health and wellness journey, and also in their spiritual and consciousness journey, which I love the most. So UNIFYDhealing.com is where you can learn more about that. And of course, if you want to get the technology for your home, you can go to the website, The Light Systems, in plural with an S at the end, thelightsystems.com.
Fantastic. Jason, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you very much.
A new Richard Syrett's Strange Planet drops every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.